This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
We're standing here in the Rama Shul on Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, the yahrzeit of the Rama. It's a great zechus because historically, from this Machon, since the Patron of the Rama, many notable Rabbanim have had the privilege to give a Drasha on the yahrzeit of the Rama, the Maharash Shach. Then, Reb Shimon Seifer, his son, Reb Simcha Bunim Seifer, his son-in-law, Rabbi Kiva Kornitzer, his son, Rabbi Yosef Nechemia Kornitzer. There have been many, many drashas over the year, and in Europe, thousands of Yidden would flock here before the war for Lag BaOmer to commemorate the yahrzeit of the Rama. Now it's interesting, the reason why this custom developed to come here on Lag BaOmer, it's not only because it's the yahrzeit of the Rama, but it's amazing. Besides it being the yahrzeit of the Rama is actually the one who created Lag BaOmer. Because if you look in the Gemara, we do not find that the students of Rabbi Kiva stopped dying on Lag BaOmer. The Rama was the first one to mention that on Lag BaOmer, we don't just not say, the Rama writes in Siman Kuf Lamed Aleph, after the Mechaber lists the days that we don't say Tachnun, the Mechaber says, we don't say Tachnun on Chamisha B'Shvat, and on Rosh Chodesh, and not on the Mincha before, and not on Chanukah. Says the Rama, Lag BaOmer ein noiflim al pneim. We also don't say Tachnun on Lag BaOmer. So the Rama is the one who teaches us that Lag BaOmer is not only the day the students stop dying, but it has halachic significance, namely, we don't say Tachnun. So you say, okay, where does it come from that Lag BaOmer is the day of Simcha? The Rama in Taf Tzadi Gimel writes that according to the Mechaber, you still cannot shave on Lag BaOmer. Comes Rama, uve medinos elu ein noi hagin kedvarav, ela mestaprim b'yom Lag BaOmer, umarbim by k'tzas simcha. In other words, the makar that Lag BaOmer is the day of k'tzas simcha was codified by the Rama. Therefore, it's not only the yahrzeit of the Rama, but more than that, the Rama in two places was the one who created Lag BaOmer. Now, Reb Simcha Bunim Seifer, when he came here and he gave a drasha on Lag BaOmer, he said as follows. There are three parshas that Lag BaOmer could come out on. Emor is Oisios, Rama, Bahar, whatever the Rama says, it's like on Har Sinai. And it's like B'chukoisai, Chokuk v'naser sadibrois. Emor, Bahar, B'chukoisai. So this is a remez that the Rama's yahrzeit comes out dafka this time of the year. I want to share with you on this occasion. First of all, the last words of the Rama in Or Chaim are V'toiv leiv mishtet tamid. We know the Bnei Yissaschar writes there are 49 days of Sfira. The 49 days of Sfira correspond to leiv toiv. The Rama mysteriously ends Or Chaim V'toiv leiv mishtet tamid, which is a remez that after leiv, after Lamed Beis Yom, begins the toiv, the Yom HaHilula of Rabbi Moshe Isserlus, Zechusa Yagein Aleinu. Now, the Chida never had the Zechus to go. The Rama never had the Zechus to go to Eastern Europe, but he records in the Shem HaGdolim that his son came to Eastern Europe. He came to Krakow, and he was zoicha to be mishtateach on the kever of the Rama. And the Chida brings a report that his son said that on the kever of the Rama, it says the Rama was nifter in the year Shin Lamed Gimel, which the Taz also writes. The Rama lived 33 years. Now, this is not historically accurate because Rama lived 42 years and the Chida himself wasn't here. The Chida is just writing what his son said. Others write that they say the Rama wrote 33 Svarim. Also, we don't have a record of 33 Svarim of the Rama. The Rama was probably nifter in the year Shin Lamed Beis, not Shin Lamed Gimel. However, one thing is for sure, the Rama was nifter on Lag BaOmer. So Rama is inextricably bound with the number 33. On this occasion, I want to share with you two special chidushim. Firstly, a chidush in reading the Rama. Rabbi Yosef Nechemia Kornitzer records that on the yahrzeit of the Rama, the minhag is to say over a chidush to explain the dinim of the Rama. But he says, this is not the greatest kavod for the Rama. Because if we were on the proper madrega, we would understand instinctively what the Rama means. We don't have to far'en for the Rama. The Rama certainly had a biur amoik in his words. The biggest covet to the Rama is that we should fulfill what he writes in the Shulchan Aruch, Shivisi Hashem lenegdi samid. I want to share with you a brief chidush. The opening of Shulchan Aruch is Yiskaber Ka'ari La'amoid Baboiker Kedei Sheyehu Ma'ir HaShachar. You should get up in the morning, that you should awake in the morning. What does Rama say? Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid. What does that have to do with anything? Why is the Rama saying Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid? Did the Mechaber say something that in any way implies not Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid? What is the connection between Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid and what the Mechaber said? The answer is very simple, but you have to read the whole Rama. The Rama says like this. The Mechaber says you have to get up early. But you'll ask, how can I get up early? This is what Rabbi Palak was being mechadesh standing at Rama's Shul before. How can you get up early? Says the Rama. By the way, the Rama is quoting Mar Nevuchim, because Rama was very connected to the Rambam. You know that the very first halach, the Rama, he's quoting Mar Nevuchim. That's why the Marshal says about the Rama, Mi Moshe ad Moshe loy kam k'Moshe, because the Rama was connected to the Rambam. The Rama says, when a person sits in their house in front, he doesn't act the same way as if you're sitting in front of a king. When somebody is in the presence of the king, they will act differently than when they're in the privacy of their own home. And one's sitting, says the Rama, is different. One's walking is different. One's speaking is different. And says the Rama, therefore, if you're in front of the king, you will never be embarrassed to do what the king wants. And then the Rama adds parenthetically, but don't fight with people who mock you. And then the Rama concludes, listen carefully, and if a person lives with the cognizance that they're always standing in front of Hashem, when they go to sleep it will be different. A person doesn't go to sleep in front of a king the way they do in the privacy of their own home. And if even when you go to sleep, you'll go to sleep knowing you're in front of Hashem, umiyad yisoyer mi mishnasoi baboiker. That's how you get up right away. In other words, the Rama is explaining to us the words of the Mechaber. The Mechaber says, get up like a lion. So you say, how am I supposed to do that? The answer is, it's a long program. The program begins that you always place Hashem in front of you. If you always place Hashem in front of you, you'll sit differently, you'll walk differently, you'll act differently, you'll go to sleep differently. And if you go to sleep knowing you're standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, miyad, you start me Mishnah said, that's how you get up. The Rama is explaining the Mechaber. The Mechaber said, get up, but how? So Rama says, you need to live with awareness of Hashem. You need to go to sleep with the awareness of Hashem. Many people, how do they go to sleep? They fall asleep, mitoich dvarim betelim. If you fall asleep, mitoich dvarim betelim, then when you get up in the morning, it's very hard to be Yiskaber Kari. But if you make sure you put away all the Dvarim B'Telim, and this is the first halach in Shulchan Aruch. The first halach in Shulchan Aruch is go to sleep mitoich shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid, and then memela you'll be Yisrael Mishnasai. Now I want to share with you a chidush that occurred to me today in the city of Krakow, in the city of the Rama, Irva Ein B'Yisrael. Why did the Rama pass away on the yahrzeit of Reb Shimon bar Yochai? What's the connection between the Rama and the Rashbi? And we know there are many connections. By the way, Reb Shimon Seifer says they're the only two Gedolim in history that their father's name was seared onto their name. Reb Shimon bar Yochai, Reb Moshe Isserlis. Yisrael was the father of the Rama. But I'd like to share with you another connection. The Gemara says that the students of Rabbi Akiva passed away from Pesach till Shavuos until Rabbi Akiva went, Ad Shabar Rabbi Akiva, Velimdu Rabbi Seinu Shabadaraim, the rabbis in the south. What's the nafkamina? They're in the south, the east, the north, the west. Why do I care they were in the south? Chazal tell us, the Gemara in Kedushin, the Gemara in Gittin, that Bavel is in the north of Eretz Yisrael, and the pasuk says, "Mitzafoin tipasach hara." Bavel comes from the north. The problem is, Bavel's not in the north of Eretz Yisrael. Bavel's in the east. The answer is as follows. If you notice in the Chumash, Avraham Avinu only goes one direction. He never goes Safoin. He never goes Mizrach. He never goes Marav. V'Avraham haloich v'nasaya hanegba. He's always going south. And even when he's coming back from Mitzrayim back to Eretz Yisrael, it should say he's going north. No, he's going Negba. Says Rashi, Negba? He's going to find it. No, he's going to the south of Eretz Yisrael. So say he's going north. Says Hagoin Rabbi Shua Heller. When a person faces Mizrach, their right side is Daraim. Their left side is Safain. Midas Hadin is Safain. Midas Harachamim is Daraim. Okay? Midas Harachamim. Chesed is Daraim. Din is Safain. Mi Safain tipasach hara. Bavel conceptually comes from the north. The Midas Hadin comes from the north. By the way, Chazal say that when Hashem created the world, He left the north open to demonstrate that He's the only God. That's why if anybody wants to say they're an Avodah Zarah, we say, make a mechitza in the north. Says Megala Amukos, who's buried here in Krakow. We had in this week's Parsha the word Elilim. What does Elilim stand for? Ein Lahem Yecholes Lasois Mechitza. They can't close in the north side. The north is Midas Hadin. The south is Midas Harachamim. What did Rabbi Akiva see? Rabbi Akiva saw that the Talmidim were subject to Midas Hadin. So he had to go to the south. In the south, Torah is a different Torah. It's a Torah of Midas Harachamim. It's a Torah of Chesed. Who did Rabbi Akiva teach? Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon's Torah was Torah's Chesed. How do we see his Torah was Torah's Chesed? Reb Shimon said, Yachal ani liftar es kol olam kuloi mi Midas Hadin. Reb Shimon's Torah was Midas HaChesed. What do we say about Reb Shimon? Kedai lismoich alav b'shas hadchak. Reb Shimon is the first one you could be soymech on b'shas hadchak. Reb Shimon says he could exempt the whole world of Rav Nasan. Reb Shimon says, I could make sure nobody sees Pnei Gehenim. Reb Shimon's Torah was Torah's HaChesed. Who else did Rabbi Akiva teach? Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir holds, Bein kach u'bein kach nekram banim. The Torah of the new Talmidim Rabbi Akiva was Torah's Chesed, Torah's Rachamim. The Torah of compassion, the Torah of understanding a Shas Hadchak. What was unique about the Psak of the Rama? I'm going to show you. It occurred to me today. The opening line of the Rama teaches us the Koyach HaTeira of the Rama. Here comes the Mechaber. Mechaber says, get up at 4 a.m. every day, so that not your alarm wakes you up, that you wake up the morning. That's the first comment of the Shulchan Aruch. So, many people say, I can't even do the first halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. Comes the Rama, Haggah. Don't worry, you have another 6 hours to daven. And if you daven by the Zman Tefillah, oichid git, you're yahrzeit. Can you imagine? The Mechaber comes and says, you got to get up every morning like a lion to wake up the morning. Comes Rama, no. It's okay, as long as you don't miss the Zman Tefillah. So already hey, this is a Torah's Chesed over here. This is a different type of approach to halacha. And then the Mechaber says, you should really wake up the morning. The Rama says, don't think it's so hard. Let me explain to you how to do it. I'll explain to you how to do it. The Rama was the one who, we can't say he innovated, but he is the staunchest supporter of the concept Kedai lismoich alav b'shas hadchak. Where does this come from? We don't see this before the Rama. The numerous examples of being soymech on a leniency. We just learned today that the Rama said under the circumstances the Yisayma could get married. Why? Kedai lismoich harabenu tam b'shas hadchak. Many times the Rama says hefsid meruba shani. The concept that you could be lenient of hefsid meruba, that's the chiddush of the Rama. The Rama has another chiddush. We don't tack on two chumras on top of each other. These are all controversial chidushim of the Rama, but lamaisa they were niskabel and Klal Yisrael. The Rama's method in halacha, we have a report from Reb Shimon Sofer, who heard from his great father Chassam Sofer, that the reason why the halacha is like the Rama, because the Rama is a Gilgal of Hillel. So the Rama's method of learning, we could say, was similar to what Rabbi Akiva did on Lag BaOmer. Rabbi Akiva went to Rabbi Seinu Shebedaraim because the Torah in the Daraim is a Torah's Chesed, a Torah of Rachamim, a Torah of Kedai Lismoich B'Shas Hadchak. Who more than Reb Shimon do we say Kedai Lismoich B'Shas Hadchak? So too the Rama, whose yahrzeit on Lag BaOmer, the Rama represents for the next Tekufa of Rabbi Seinu Shebedaraim, a Torah of Chesed, a Torah of Rachamim, a Torah of Kedai Lismoich B'Shas Hadchak. So on this occasion, we're mispalel that in the Zchus of the Rama, all of our tefillos should be answered Barachamim Uveratzain Lanu L'Chol Yisrael Amen Yamale Hashem Kol Mishal Seinu L'Toiva Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.